Now let's listen to Maria Richardsson, the CEO and founder of Nordic Design Collective.
Enough time alone up in my bedroom at home.
Good morning. So I'm going to share some learnings, mostly, and some trends about pop-up stores. First of all, how many of you know of Nordic Design Collective? A few, yes. Like Sarah mentioned, we're a niched online marketplace. I started this because I'm very passionate about helping designers succeed online. Usually they're very passionate about their products and know design, but not as much in sales and marketing. So that's where we can help them. We are working with about 160 designers right now, and we have a global platform. So we have customers in 44 countries, but the main business is, of course, in Sweden. We've been trying a lot of things. I think that's one of the best things about being an entrepreneur. You get to try a lot of things. We've been doing trade shows, markets, and so on. And I just wanted to share some examples of what we've been doing. This is a picture from the public fair called Hemmevilla in Stockholm. It was open for 4 days, so it was a very short pop-up store. And the fair is very much, there is some interior design, but it's also like heating and plumbing and all sorts of things. 2 years ago, we did a pop-up store in Nacka Forum, just outside of Stockholm, a big mall. We had the store open for 5 months, so that was quite different. Last year, we had a smaller pop-up store in the high street of Malmö. Between Triangeln and Södertull. It was open for 2 months before Christmas last year. And we also did one in Skrapan, which is a mall in central Stockholm, and that was open for 1 month. A few weeks back, we did a combination of an exhibition and pop-up store in London at the London Design Festival. It was a combination of trade show and also open for the public, and that was also just for 4 days. And as you can see, we tried to sort of keep a common theme for these pop-up stores, but the content was very different, and that's sort of also relating to that we have 160 designers and thousands of products. So, a few of my learnings. First of all, when you do a pop-up store, you need to be very, very clear about what the purpose of the pop-up store is. Is it an activity to enhance your brand? Or do you just want to get rid of stock that you have, or returns and so on, and do an outlet? The purpose is very important to keep in mind all the time, because it sort of affects all the decisions that you make along the way. Location and timing is, of course, very important, and this also is very much related to the kind of pop-up store that you want to do. Is it just a very short one, or should you be open for a few months? Is it to enhance Christmas sales, or are you too busy during Christmas to do this properly? Maybe you should do it in the summer to do a summer event instead. And how are people going to find you? One of the major issues for stores in general is to get people into the store. Are you going to be placed in a location where a lot of people pass by? Or do you need to drive the visitors to your store? It turns out that people are creatures of habits, as I'm sure you all know. Usually you don't walk into a new store the first time you see it. A few people are that curious, but most people, they pass by a couple of times before they enter. So that's also something to keep in mind when you plan your activity. It's also very important to communicate for how long the pop-up store is going to be open. Is it just for a few days, or are you going to be there for a couple of months? It's important for 2 reasons. First of all, to let people know how long they have before to go in and shop and see what you have to offer before you close. But also to be clear that this is a temporary store. We're not supposed to be here forever. So when we close, it's not because that we're failing. Because there are a lot of empty stores, and I don't know about you, but when I go into malls and I see, it's like, okay, that one's empty, and okay, but this used to be a very cool store. They closed down. I guess they didn't make it. Another very important learning from me is from one of the pop-up stores in malls that we did. Most of the malls in Sweden are owned by these international retail or real estate companies. They have a central organization working with sales and strategies. And they know that they have to look at pop-ups and find new things to fill up the locations. We talked to the central sales team. They were very excited and promised us a lot of support in making the pop-up a success. But when we came to the mall itself and talked to the local manager, he was not as keen, turned out. He was not on board on the decision and thought that, well, pop-up stores is just really a hassle, and you're going to, we can't help you as much because we're going to make the other stores jealous and all sorts of things. It was really exciting to hear his thinking. But that really caused us a lot of discussions. We had to fight to get what we were promised from the local sales team, and it was just totally draining of energy when you just want to focus on the store and building something, a great experience for the customer. So that's a key learning if you're going into malls. The local management will also be very important for you to manage the relations with the stores that's going to be nearby you, whether or not it's in the mall or on a high street, the neighboring stores. A lot of them don't know what to expect. They think that pop-up stores is some kind of threat. And e-commerce, it's very scary, right? I think you all heard that we're the bad guys in retail. But if you get the local management aboard, they can help to, try to make this a positive experience and make them see the possibilities that something fun is happening in this area and we can all benefit from it. Integrations. We're all kind of techie, right? We love to build integrations and make sure that the routines and the APIs are working properly, and you have to update the stock and so on. Well, if you're doing a pop-up for, I don't know, a couple of days, a couple of weeks, or even a couple of months, do you really, really need all the integrations? We did everything manually, and it worked fine. We put the sales in our system manually every day. We handle the payments through iSettle. Worked perfectly. And if you don't know that this is the way to go, you just do it as simple as possible and try out what's working and what's not. Another thing that I think that we're all really loving is measuring things. But how do you measure an offline event? You can't really put UTM tags on people, right? I wish, but really hard. Measuring sales in the store, that's one thing, but people they sort of cross through channels. It's not all, well, I'm going to the store to browse and then I go online to shop. It's also the other way around. We had a lot of people coming in, well, you know, I saw this in your online store. Do you have it here? I want to see it. But also, of course, the other way around. We got emails to our customer service. I was in the pop-up store and I saw this sort of a greenish poster. It was on the left. Do you know where I can find it online? But how do you measure that? It's really, really hard. We tried a few things. We, of course, tried to collect email addresses to get them on our newsletter list so we could continue to talk to them. We also tried to give out coupons, you know, as thank you for shopping here. We want to give you a small discount when you come online. That's one way to do it. The coupon thing didn't really work out for us. It never did. I don't know why. Hopefully people got online, but they just never used the coupon. But we don't know. And I guess this is also something that you need to accept, that you won't get the full facts like you can in or online. But what you do get offline that you don't get online is the softer analytics. You get to see who is actually coming into your store. And that's kind of amazing. You see their age, what they're wearing, who they're with. You probably even get to hear them talk to each other and get to hear what they're thinking. You know, what are their impressions? Is the price too high? Or I love this color? Or, you know. Usually we have a pretty good idea about our target group, our audience. But that's just numbers. Using a pop-up store or a live event is a really good way to sort of confirm the image you have of your target audience. Is it the same kind of people? For us, we've always been thinking, you know, online that we have new moms and their mothers. So women in the age group of, you know, 25, 35, and then maybe 50, 55 plus. And it was correct. We very rapidly learned that we have to make the store approachable if you have a trolley with your kids in them. But that's probably one of the most valuable things for me when doing a pop-up, that you actually get to meet people and you hear what they're thinking, and you can ask them, what do you think about this? Is it interesting? What would you like to see more? You don't really get that online, not in the same way. The other biggest learning, I think, is that you have to have retail competence in the group that's doing a pop-up store. You know, sometimes there's a lot of talk about how easy e-commerce is. You know, just a click and you're online and can start to sell your products. As you all know, who's here, it's not that easy. You don't upload a couple of products and people will automatically find you and give you money. You have to know SEO, servers, HTTPS, social media, newsletters, logistics, everything. It's a lot of different details. As it turns out, it's the same way in retail. It's not just, you know, opening the doors, putting your products in there, and people will automatically come in and give you money. Sadly. You have to know how to staff your store, especially if you're in a mall, because they have crazy open hours, and there are fees if you're not open exactly when they open. You have to know how to display your products in a way that enhances sales. And of course, you have to meet the customer and sell to the customer, which is a science in itself. I really have a whole new respect and admiration for people in retail after trying this for a few times. So these are a few of my key learnings and my best tips to you if you want to try doing a pop-up. Let's look at some trends as well, because I find this area very, very exciting. I think everybody hears all the time, retail is struggling, and the high street is struggling. There are small shops closing down all the time. At the same time, at the bigger malls, we see a lot of empty stores. So they're struggling as well. I've seen reports that expects the retail to hit its high this year. From now on, it will decline, and e-commerce will take a bigger market share. Well, it's a report, so we don't know, but we might be there. There are reports about smaller malls in the UK that's been closed down and turned into e-commerce warehouses and logistic hubs. And I think that this is all part in a bigger change in the customer behavior, and that's going really, really fast. It's scary, but it's also very exciting. The customer has other expectations of retail and e-commerce. When you go into a store that's also online, you don't really give a shit, to be honest, if it's a locally owned store, or if the e-commerce department is separated from everything. As a customer, it's the same brand. This is something that's very important to remember. And as much as I love e-commerce, I don't like to go shopping and carry all the heavy bags and so on. Going shopping is still a social event, it's a social happening. You go out with your friends or your family, or you hang out, you go take a coffee and then browse through some stores. And that behavior, I don't think that's going to change really. And we already see that a lot of stores are doing more events, workshops, trainings, and so on. This is pictures from a store here in Malmö that's called AB Småland. It's located on the high street. I think they're really onto something very exciting. When you go into the store, you don't really know what it is. Is it a store? Is it a coffee shop? Or what is it? It's very, very stylish. They have furniture, they have plants, they have fashion, and they have a coffee shop that's very, very popular. And they have all sorts of events. It's yoga and knitting and whatever. And everything is very, very Instagram friendly. So I think that's something very exciting. If you have the time, you should go by and have a look. There are also a number of new tech solutions coming. We haven't talked so much about this during the conference, but we've been talking about beacons for years. And I also want to mention two Malmö-based companies. One is called Modcam. They're using video to create heat maps about how people are actually moving within your store. Another company is called Batmetrics. They are using RFID tags on your products to sort of almost get, clicks and page views on your products. You get to know if someone is picking up your product and if they buy it or if they just put it back and move on. Very exciting, especially when you come from e-commerce and you're used to measuring everything. We're also seeing more and more showrooms, bigger brands opening smaller showrooms. This is from Decathlon in Germany. They have visually separated the store in different areas, where the white one is very much about the online experience. They also have, as you can see on your right, visible shelves for the packages that are being picked up in the store to really show the customers that come into the store that, well, you can order online and you just come here and pick it up. Another big brand is IKEA. And you know about their warehouses. It's like a day, you need a day to go there, and you have to walk around, and you have to eat before you faint, and so on. This summer, they opened a service and pickup store just north of Stockholm. It's just a fraction of the area that a normal IKEA store has. And it's much more focused on planning. You can plan your kitchen. They have a lot of staff to help you plan your kitchen or your bedroom or bathroom or whatever. Of course, they have the smaller decoration details that you can bring home at once, but you can also just sit there, relax, have a coffee, plan your new kitchen. You order it online, and then you decide whether or not you're going to pick it up in the store or have it delivered to your home. Also very exciting, and I'm glad to see big brands trying new things like this. So there are a lot of things happening in this area at the moment. And the behavior for customers is changing really, really fast. But the good thing for us is that this really gives us an opportunity to try new things. Times are changing, and we won't be able to go back. The behavior is changing. People are expecting more. You want to be able to, go to the store and learn about the manufacturer of a new brand of olive oil, or you want to get to know how to paint furnitures when you go to the paint shop, for instance. But that's a good thing. That's an opportunity for us. So try new stuff and try them to learn. Don't do them because you think they are the answer, because the only thing you can be really, really sure about is that nothing ever is what you expect it to be. Nothing ever goes according to plan. But if you see it as an opportunity to learn, it doesn't really matter because you learned something anyway. And have fun. I mean, this is about the people. We heard yesterday about people buy from people. Don't forget that. Especially when you're doing a pop-up store or something within retail. It's all about the people in the store that you work with, but also about the customers, the actual people that come into your store. Make sure you get to know them and help them and have a good time. Thank you.
First of all,
yes.
Customers in 44 countries. That's amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
How did you achieve that?
Good question. I don't really know because we haven't done any marketing outside of Sweden. So, good question.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Søren or Jeremy?
You talked about the importance of trying a lot of things.
Yes.
You've obviously tried a lot of things yourself, but it's impossible to try everything.
Yeah.
So how do you decide which ideas to pursue and which ones to throw away or put on the back burner?
That's a very good question. I want to try everything at once, of course. I'm sort of not very patient. But I mean, you always have to weigh the pros and cons. If one of the ideas is a lot of work and a lot of investment in terms of money, and the other one is maybe quicker and cheaper, maybe you should try that one first. And also, trying to weigh the impact. If I think that's something that is a bit more expensive, like the London pop-up, but I expect it to give a better effect, maybe then that will get prioritized.
I'm thinking about when if you're a pure player, if you're just online, you get a lot of data about your products, which products you should sell. If somebody is in the audience thinking about starting a pop-up store, I think one of the most important questions is which products should I bring into the pop-up store? Because you don't have the size and everything with it. So how do you go about there?
It's a very good question, and I think that's when the retail competence is really needed, because you can of course look at your own reports and saying that, well, these kind of products is very popular online, but that doesn't mean that it's going to work offline. And I've also learned that it's very important to have a mix of products that sort of support each other. So if you can have someone in that's used to doing retail, they can help you with that, I would say.
You're done?
No, I'm not satisfied with the answer. I think you can say, how do you do it? How do you select your goods?
I give it a shot. Well, for us, it's kind of different because we're in marketplace. We're working with 160 different designers, and the items are very different. The way we have done it is that we've done differently in different kind of pop-up stores, but we try to create a mix with covering as many categories as possible to sort of represent what we have online, but in the same time trying to minimize the number of designers that we bring into the store, because we can't get one shipping from the warehouse. If we have products from 30 different designers in the store, which we've had, I think in one we actually had like 50 designers represented, we get 50 shipments, and that's well, it's not the best way to do it, I think. But so for us it has been different. But then we try to sort of also, of course, take a look at what's selling best online. For us, posters is one of the biggest categories. So we always have a big poster wall, which in Sweden works really, really well. Did not work in London, which was very interesting. So you never know, because the audience is different.
You have to try, basically.
Yeah, you have to try and try to be flexible. If you're doing a pop-up store for a few months, you can learn along the way and maybe change things around and so on.
Thank you so much, Maria, and also thank you for a very beautiful and stylish presentation.
Thank you.
A big hand for Maria Richardsson.